Spirit is the largest Halloween-themed retailer and distributor of consumer-grade animatronics in North America. As Spirit stores begin to pop up across the nation, we're going to take a look at all the spooky animatronics that you can find in store for 2023, ranking them by design quality and fright factor. Number 10. Graveyard Ghouls. To get us started, we've got a trio of animated props that could help add atmosphere to your home haunt. The first is Grave Watcher. They say that the Grave Watcher is eternal, keeping a tormented vigil over the dead as a punishment for past sins. This 3-foot-tall animatronic roams the graveyard at night, listening to the unholy moans of 1,000 corpses, and terrifying trespassers with his tilting head and creepy moving arms. Next is the Howling Spirit, a vengeful ghost which has haunted this town since 1919, when a local man was murdered by an angry mob after stealing food for his starving family. Now he stalks the town, searching for revenge and another soul. Reaching a height of 8 feet, the Howling Spirit has a glowing body and a haunting voice, and will float menacingly above your home haunt. And the last of our graveyard ghouls is Eternal Rest, a 3-foot-tall tombstone cursed by the spirit of a woman who vowed never to leave her lover even after death. Unfortunately, none of these ghouls are particularly scary and barely qualify as animatronics, earning them the bottom spot in this year's list. Number 9. Creepy Clowns. Next up is this year's assortment of carnival creations. This is Poor George. George was a good clown. He made the kids laugh, the parents smile, and kept the circus happy. George was performing for tips in the street when an out-of-control cable car careened around the corner and sliced him in half. Amazingly, George's body survived the accident, but his mind became tormented. Instead of jokes and gags, he stares down passerbys, laughing maniacally, but they better not stay too long because Poor George will ensure that they don't get very far. Next up, standing almost 8 feet tall, is Stilts. Juggling can be a cutthroat competition, and Stilts would do anything to be the best in the business, even if it meant knocking out the competition permanently. But when he lost to a chainsaw-tossing lumberjack, he just couldn't handle it. Now he walks the city streets begging to impress unsuspecting onlookers with his act, but they better cheer loud enough, otherwise it's the last show they'll ever see. Finally, there's Killer Clown Slim, who you'll recognize from the cult classic film Killer Clowns from Outer Space. If you happen to see any giant shadow puppets this Halloween, look out, because it can mean only one thing. The Killer Clowns from Outer Space are back and ready to cause some wacky mayhem. With a bright pink jumpsuit, his head of orange hair, and a sinister smile, Slim is always on the hunt for any helpless humans he can capture to feed his crew. Wearing brightly colored outfits and with limited movement, none of these clowns are particularly menacing, and they just aren't scary enough or impressive enough to earn any higher than number 9 on this year's list. Number 8. Mini Jump Scares. Tied at number 8 are a collection of animatronics which are sure to startle guests at your home haunt. This is Dagger Mike. Some kids are just born nasty. Dagger Mike was never a normal kid. He liked rats, bugs, knives, creepy clowns, and scaring the heck out of everyone in the neighborhood. But instead, he opted for something simpler, a cute clown outfit and 2 little daggers. Now there are no more tricks, so when you see Mike, you better steer clear or be ready for your final surprise. Next, there's little Jack Carver. This orphan farm boy was sick and tired of being tossed around by his foster family. With only the moon to guide him, he snuck out into the pumpkin patch one night and smashed their prize gourd as payback. Now he crouches in wait, hiding in the patch's overgrown vines and holding on tightly to his demonic jack-o'-lantern, waiting for the next unfortunate pumpkin picker to cross his path. Here's Gourdo. Good old Gourdo loved scaring people. He'd jump out from around corners, pop up from behind the couch, whatever it took to get a good scare. Seeking revenge, the witch cursed poor old Gourdo, and now he's permanently grinning as a jack-o'-lantern. But it hasn't stopped him from trying to scare folks, though. It's only upped his appetite to scare you to death. Finally is the Sitting Scarecrow, which is a rethemed version of a Spirit favorite. Tired of standing in the field, the Scarecrow decided to take revenge on his creators by torturing their children. Now he sits patiently holding a bowl of candy, and waiting for an unsuspecting guest to reach for one of his treats. All of these jump scares pack a good punch, but they're relatively small in size, so let's move on to some full-size animatronics. Number 7. The Black Heart. Ava should have been married. In her old-fashioned village, she was already considered a spinster by the age of 25. According to local lore, if she climbed into a freshly dug grave in the town cemetery at exactly midnight, her true love would show up at sunrise. But when Ava awoke the next morning with her lips pressed against the cold kiss of an undead master, she learned the true meaning of being careful what you wish for.
Join me now and forever. We will own the night.
The Black Heart is a menacing depiction of death, but its unrealistic movement keeps it from reaching its full potential. This prop would have benefited greatly by adding some movement or lighting to help highlight Ava's creepy cadaver. Number 6. Movie Monsters. We have a pair of officially licensed movie monsters. First is the cinematic killer, Leatherface. Once you hear the revving of Leatherface's chainsaw this Halloween, you'll know you're already too late to run, and you'll soon be his next victim. With his brute strength and bone-chilling screams of rage, this cannibalistic serial killer is sure to give you a fright. The other licensed movie monster this year is the Martian warrior from the movie Mars Attacks. This is one intergalactic species that does not come in peace. The Martian warrior features an enlarged head, bulging eyes, and is equipped with an intergalactic space weapon that will disintegrate you with one shot. This licensed animatronic from the movie Mars Attacks has come to invade your planet. The colorful and detailed Martian warrior prop is sure to be a hit with fans of the movie. Unfortunately, Leatherface's cushioned body ended up looking more like the Pillsbury Doughboy than that of a maniacal killer. Number 5. Hellspawn. After a life of sin, lies, and deceit, a world of endless pain and suffering was the inevitable outcome for his life. Ever the con artist, he managed to strike a deal with the devil, and now reborn as the powerful demon Hellspawn, he sits at the right hand of Satan himself. Resist his temptations or suffer greatly as he drags you to hell. Hellspawn is a bit of a disappointment since he's a simple retheme of Spirit's Mr. Dark animatronic. The quick rising motion is still impressive, but I think that Mr. Dark's appearance was much creepier than this current iteration. Number 4. Desmodus. Some are just born mean. This bloodthirsty bat was born deep in the caves of the rainforest, emerging after years of gorging on unsuspecting forest dwellers. As his hunger grew, so did his size. His appetite is insatiable, so he spends nights stalking all manner of victims to drain them of their precious blood. But you'd be wrong if you think that you're safe just because you walk upright. Humans are his favorite meal. Desmodus is another jump scare, but what sets him apart is the quick motion and giant wingspan, which are guaranteed to startle passers-by. With glowing eyes and sharp fangs, he looks terrifying and like he's ready to feast on his next victim. Number 3. The Cauldroness. The Cauldroness has been alive since the original witch's Sabbath, creaking across the earth for hundreds of years, fueled by her wicked potion. She meticulously scours the earth for its rare and delicate ingredients, but the one she needs most isn't found at your local cemetery. It's only found beating inside your chests. So keep your kids close and your eyes open, or else you'll become part of this witch's brew. Cauldroness isn't very large at just under 4 feet tall, but has great fog effects with a steaming cauldron and a bubbling bottle. She also has integrated lighting and mouth and arm movements, earning her number 3 on my list. Number 2. Darling Dolly. In the early 1930s, little Sally Smith found Darling Dolly buried in the backyard of her family's new home. Weird things started happening around the house, and Mrs. Smith blamed Darling Dolly. In a panic one night during a terrible thunderstorm, Mrs. Smith tried to bury Darling Dolly in the same spot that Sally had unearthed her. But when lightning struck Mrs. Smith's shovel, Dolly's grave lit up with an eerie blue glow, and the doll and Mrs. Smith were forever changed into something far more sinister. Half doll and half tree, Darling Dolly is a grotesque mishmash of terror. Her downward lunging motion catches you off guard and will send folks running. And the #1 Spirit Halloween animatronic for 2023 is Emmeline. Emmeline took over her family's South Carolina farm in 1813 after their tragic thresher accident, vowing to care for the property despite her frailty. But without food or connection to the outside world, she fell into hunger and madness before her death. Unfortunately for any passerby, she still stalks the farm, unable to rest until it yields a successful harvest. So if you find yourself near her land, be careful, because Emmeline shows trespassers no mercy. Emmeline's creepy face will look terrifying at night, but it's her range of motion that really sets this prop apart. Lunging several feet forward, Emmeline gives a massive jump scare. If you don't watch out, you'll end up in her evil grasp. Let me know what you think of this year's Spirit Animatronic lineup and whether you agree with my rankings, and click here for more Halloween adventures.